Here's what happened round 2 of the FIM Motocross World Championship, the MXGP of Sardegna here at Riola Sardo. Sneaking up the inside to bag his first foxhole shot of the campaign, championship leader Jago Kietz. He led coming out of turn 2. Simon Langenfelder was right there as well in second, and they were followed by the rest of the pack as they headed uphill. Andrea Adamo, third place for him. But then, number 74, Kai de Wolf, started making inroads. He moved into third with that pass on Adamo. Top of the screen, and going out of the lead briefly was Jago Kietz. He dropped to third, handing the advantage to Langenfelder and de Wolf. Not so fortunate, a sick Rick Elzinga out of the race on lap 3. He did not line up for race 2 either. The challenge for the lead came here as de Wolf eventually found his way up the inside of Langenfelder. Kietz then followed through as well, took over second position, and then this pass on de Wolf got him back into the lead. But it was short-lived. He stalled the engine into the final turn, and on lap 6, Kai de Wolf took over the lead once again. All kinds of mayhem a little bit further back, battling over the 5th, 6th, 7th positions. Thibaut Beneston eventually getting the better of both the Red Bull KTMs. This pass on Everts, putting him up into 4th place, around about the halfway mark. Kietz then bounced back to 2nd with this move on Langenfelder. That was on lap 12 of 17. Everts fell down to 9th. But it was Kai de Wolf who hung on to take victory in race 1, his 3rd career win from Kietz, Langenfelder, Beneston and Adamo. MX2, race 2, number 17. Got into a bit of a kerfuffle there, Cornelius Tondel, but it was the fast-starting Spaniard, Oriol Oliver, who bagged the foxhole shot this time around. Working their way down past pit lane, the two Yamahas of Kietz and Beneston closed each other off. That allowed de Wolf around the outside to go from 4th to 2nd position. But before the end of the lap, Kietz lent on the 74 to take over 2nd place, and a couple of corners later, the Belgian was into the lead. Didn't take long for de Wolf to get there either. And all of a sudden, the same two riders at the head of the field from race 1 were doing it again in race 2, this time in the reverse order. Adamo got the better of his teammate here as Everts just lost the front end. Those two were still fighting over that sort of 6th, 7th position. Langenfelder went around the outside of Rowan van der Moostijk, got himself up in the 5th place and looked to close down on Beneston and Lucas Koenen, but then he started to fade in the later stages as de Wolf started to close in once again on Kietz as they battled for the lead. A fading Langenfelder, though, felt the heat first from Rowan van der Moostijk and then Adamo. He eventually came home in 7th place as Andrea Adamo went through as well. But Jago Kietz opened up a comfortable victory over Kai de Wolf. He crossed the line to win race 2, his 35th career victory. De Wolf was 2nd, Beneston 3rd. Lucas Koenen, a fantastic ride for the Husqvarna rider in 4th, ahead of his teammate Van der Moostijk. But it was Kietz who was victorious this weekend with his 18th Grand Prix win, ahead of Kai de Wolf with his 9th podium and Thibaut Beneston with his 8th visit to the box. And going into round 3, Jago Kietz now continues to lead. He's extended his lead from 11 points to 30 over de Wolf, who moves up to 2nd, and Beneston, who's 3rd. But that was your podium today. Kietz, de Wolf and Thibaut Beneston.
Took a good start again, but I was in 2nd or 3rd, I think. And then after the first lap, I moved up to the lead, and Kai was pushing me the whole moto, but I kept my head cool and just didn't click my laps and managed to win. So really happy with that, and it's nice to have already 2 GP victories now.
MXGP, race 1, Jeremy Seewer, the fast starter. He made the foxhole shot line his own for the first time this year as Benoit Paturel just ran a little bit wide. Valentin Guillot went down. On the exit of the turn, though, looked to the outside. Jorge Prado got good drive past pit lane, immediately found his way into the lead, and the Gas rider led from the opening lap. Jeffrey Hurlings didn't make the best start, but he was quickly up into 4th position with that move around the outside. of Brent van Donnick, as, bottom of your screen, Romain Febvre fell from 4th position at the start of lap 2. He would eventually come home in 11th, get passed by Guadagnini on the final lap. 2 crashes for Ruben Fernandez meant he did not finish race 1. He arrived here at 2nd place in the championship. Maxime Renaux fell victim to the deep sand of Riola. He picked himself up, lost a couple of positions, but was quickly back past Brent van Donnick as he moved back into 6th place. But Herlings was on the charge late on, closing down on the 2 Monster Energy Yamahas of Siwa and Koldenhoff. He went around the outside of the Hoff. The Red Bull KTM splitting the 2 teammates. Also on the charge, number 10, Calvin Verlandren, following Herlings through. But Jeremy Siwa, minding his own business, all of a sudden out of the front door from 2nd position. Herlings was through, so too was Verlandren. Maxime Renaux got the better of Koldenhoff in the latter stages of the race as well. That was Verlandren, Renaux, Koldenhoff and Siwa fighting over 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. The win, though, belonged to Jorge Prado. He crossed the line for his 65th career victory from Herlings and Verlandren. MXGP race 2, this time Romain Febvre over on the left-hand side, number 3 on that green Kawasaki. He held a tight line, he banked bars with Siwa as they hit the Foxhole shot line. Now look at the top of the screen, 101 in red and Herlings to the outside. Watch those 2 riders bang bars on the way out. That was a first lap incident between those 2. Herlings having to fight his way through. At the end of the first lap, he'd already carved his way back through to 9th though. And how important was that opening lap charge? Jorge Prado didn't get his usual fast start, found his way past Van Donnick and Fernandez as he was charging up towards 4th, 5th position. Ruben Fernandez not lucky again this time though. He was in around about 6th or 7th place. He made this mistake here, the wrong side of an edge. He went down. He would eventually finish in 11th place, but it was a hard charge through from 23rd position. 2nd position was up for grabs, and it was Romain Febvre who grabbed it with both hands, squeezing Jeremy Siwa on lap 3. And then Maxime Renaux got the better of Jorge Prado. Maxime Renaux and Jeremy Siwa then went at it. Renaux got the better of his teammate to move into 3rd. Prado stalled, lost momentum momentarily. And all the while in the background, Calvin Verlandren was menacing. He eventually came home in 5th position. He had to do it all again, though, as he fell down to 6th. He found his way past Jorge Prado. But what an intense second half of the race we had. All of a sudden, Jeffrey Herlings came alive, found his way into 6th with this move on Prado. Next in his line of sight was Calvin Verlandren. He eased by the Dutchman to move into 5th place. Then Jeremy Siwa, who just got offline here, that opened the door for Herlings to move into 4th. He wasn't the overall Grand Prix winner, though. He needed one of these 2 riders here, Febvre or Maxime Renaux. Those 2 fighting over 2nd. At this moment, it was Renaux who stole that 2nd place away, but the stubborn Frenchman, Romain Febvre, took it to the Yamaha man. That was a gift for Herlings. He nudged aside Maxime Renaux and then found himself being pushed back into 4th place as Renaux came back through. Herlings was sitting there in 4th place, just needed one more position, otherwise Koldenhoff would be the overall Grand Prix winner. And then, with 2 laps to go, 2 corners, 2 passes for Herlings. He went from 4th to 3rd with his move on Renaux, and then into 2nd with a pass on Febvre, and almost immediately Febvre was down into 4th place as Maxime Renaux went through into 3rd position. Glenn Koldenhoff went on to win his 12th career race victory, but it was Jeffrey Herlings' 2 2nd place finishes that grabbed the overall classification. Maxime Renaux 3rd, Febvre 4th, Verlandren 5th. That's how it finished in the race, but a milestone for Herlings. 100 Grand Prix victories in the books now for the Red Bull KTM rider. Koldenhoff, a 5-1, got him his 28th podium. Prado on the box with a 1-6 for his 65th career podium. And he continues to lead as we head to round 3. That margin now just 7 points between him and Herlings, your overall Grand Prix winner here this weekend.
I kept charging till the end. You know, I've a local track's a little bit similar to this, and I spent hours and hours and hours on that track. So I knew I was going to be very physical in the second moto, and just my starts. I don't know. It's so much bad luck and wheel spin with the start, but you know, I came from that last, went out of the turn the first lap, and came from almost that last to second and won the GP. So this is number 100, and let's keep counting from here.